Chris from LazyLemming.com. Getting drunk around 12:05. Not really drunk, but I'm drinking at around 12:05. You feel like an alcoholic when you drink around 12:05, but it's the only time to drink when you work graveyard shifts. So this is actually my nighttime, even though the sun's blaring in my face. Anyway, I want to talk about Nintendo because I can't stop talking about Nintendo, apparently. Now, E3 is coming. It's May 11th right now, and that's the time of recording. By the time you see this, it'll probably be May 13th. Anyway, E3 is coming. Nintendo has already announced that they will not be doing another live E3 presentation. Last year, they did a Nintendo Direct. This year, Nintendo has gone a little bit further, a little bit bigger, and they've announced that they're going to be doing this, a digital presentation or something like that. Sounds a lot like a Nintendo Direct, but maybe on a little bit of a larger scale. Maybe they're going a little bit more all out. I'm not exactly sure, but what we do know is that there will not be a live conference. Sony's doing a live conference. Microsoft is doing a live conference. Nintendo, for the second year in a row, has decided not to do a live conference. Reggie last year said, when he was asked in an interview whether or not Nintendo is just not going to be doing conferences anymore, he said, no, that's not what we're doing. That's not what we're doing. We're just experimenting with different ideas. And this is now the second year that they're doing it, the idea of not doing a conference. I think that's a mistake. I think that the video they did, they paired up with the those guys that make those comedy videos. What is it? VG64. Is that what their name is? Those guys that make the comedy gaming videos. They made a very funny video of them doing like a robot Reggie kind of thing, and it was pretty funny. I gotta give them credit. It was pretty funny, and it was a smart move, I think. And that was their announcement of this digital presentation. But at the end of the day, to me, it means that they're not going to be doing another live conference. Now, I've been watching E3 conferences live through internet streaming, and then later, sometimes through Spike TV, for several years now. Ever since they started doing live streams, I've probably been watching. I just got done, right now, just this very moment, I just got done watching a YouTube version of Nintendo's 2004 E3 conference. It was incredible. It was really, really amazing. Outside of some asshole's choice to use the font Papyrus, it was a really good conference. They had all kinds of great games that appealed to people like you and me. They had Star Fox. They had Metroid Prime 2. They had Resident Evil 4. They had Paper Mario 2, Pikmin 2. They showed off a lot of these games like it was nothing. Beautiful Joe 2. They just threw these games out there like, it wasn't no thing. And it was the very first time they were ever showing these games off. Super Mario 64 DS. They were just throwing these games out there like it wasn't no thing. And Nintendo had so many games to show off, kind of wasn't. Nowadays, with the Wii U situation, any game is everything. And that's why an eShop game is such a big deal. Nintendo has really lost their third-party support. Kind of going off track here. But anyway, I was watching this E3 2004 conference. It was very foreboding, too, because not only did they reveal the Nintendo DS for the first time, and they didn't know how right they were, by the way. They didn't know how right they were about how big of a deal the DS would have been and how much of an impact it would have had on the industry. They also just kind of, it was really impressive to me. They showed off so many big games, so many games that weren't even that big, but played a big role for me. They had Donkey Kong Jungle Beat, Donkey Konga even. A lot of y'all are probably just being born by the time this conference aired. But it had a lot of interesting games. Anyway, my whole point here is that Nintendo's not doing another live conference. And when I rewatched this conference, I got to see and remind myself one of the reasons I think these conferences are so important to have live. Because a lot of people have been saying, you know what, Nintendo doesn't need to do a live conference. What's the benefit of it if... I don't know if I'm playing this question. Anyway, they said, what's the benefit of a live conference over a Nintendo Direct sale? Well, even if you're not at that live conference, you feel that energy. You know that other people are watching. And those live conferences now often air on television, which means more people get to see it. So, anyway, when it's live, there's an energy that happens. Sometimes it's booing, in the case of Xbox One TV features, or laughing in the case of Nintendo revealing that a Saints Row game is going to hit the 3DS, which it never did. Rest in peace, THQ. But you get to see laughs, boos, and oftentimes cheers. And the Nintendo 2004 conference was huge. There was tons of cheers, especially when they revealed Twilight Princess for the first time. It was a big deal. And there was a lot of energy that went into that you don't see, you don't feel, you don't experience, you don't have any kind of connection with at all if it's just a pre-recorded deal, which is what a Nintendo Direct is, which is what a Nintendo digital feature, quote-unquote, is, or digital presentation, whatever they're titling it. It's not a live event, and I think that's why it's a mistake. I'm hoping since they're going through the trouble of announcing it so early on and doing this whole comedy bit, that it's going to have a lot of big games, because Nintendo really has to carry the Wii U on their own backs now. It sucks. I really hoped that the Wii U would have had great third-party support. Nintendo promised it, EA promised it, Ubisoft promised it, Activision promised it, everybody promised it, everybody and their mama, but it just isn't happening. So Nintendo, I think at this point in 2014, knows that they gotta carry this thing until they can finally get third parties back. So I'm hoping it's a big deal. But at the same time, I know that the lack of a live conference hurts Nintendo. But I want to know your thoughts. Let me know what you think. Do you think a live conference is as important as I think it is? Maybe you grew up in an age where it didn't mean shit to you. Maybe you were born 2 years ago, or a year ago, when Nintendo finally decided to stop doing it. Either way, subscribe for more. Got a comedy channel, check it out. Let me know what you think. Very funny stuff. I'll see you in the next one.